I've compared this to 2006, 2008, 2014. It's just, for whatever reason, just every night it's something different or someone different. It was Trevor Steffen's turn in the first game today. It was Emmanuel Clase and James Karinchak on Friday night. When you had the offense scoring 9 runs, of course the bullpen's going to blow it. They haven't won a game by more than 3 runs since their first win of the season. Like, every single time they win, it causes you to pull your hair out to do it. And half the time you pull your hair out and they don't do it. And I just, it's Murphy's Law. It's whatever you want to call it. But I think sometimes, for whatever reason, teams just can't get in sync. And it's just your sequencing is bad. It's just like, doesn't quite, you're never clicking on all cylinders. It's the offense is good one day, the pitching's good, but never at the same time. Sometimes it's just a bad team. Sometimes it's you just can't get on track, every part of your team. And sometimes it's both. And it's early enough in the season where I'm not exactly sure what it is, which category this team falls in. Because whatever category it is, that can dictate how things go in July and August and this winter. But, at this point, it looks like they might belong to all 3 categories. So, I don't know. It's just every single loss is like the most painful, twisted script that you've ever read until the very next night when it's even more painful and more twisted.
It's predictable. This is when you would look at the writer that's coming up with this show, this movie, and you would say, get rid of this, it's too predictable. I already know what's going to happen before it happens. And we joked about it before we actually got the live stream working, but you and I exchanged a text message about this very thing. After Jose hits the home run, a 2-run home run, you take the lead, that should be a moment of pure joy. And what goes through my brain? That they are going to find a way to make this the most horrific loss since the last time they lost a game. And you sent me a text message right back that, whose turn is it to blow it tonight? Trevor Steffen. And then what ends up happening? Trevor Steffen blows it. And we go back a couple of nights ago when Karinchak gave up the grand slam. Steffen's the guy that everyone wanted in the game right in that moment. And we can go round and round whether or not that was the right or wrong decision. What ultimately played out proved it to be the wrong decision in that case. But of course, you go to the guy that everyone wanted in that situation the next time you're in this situation in a close game, and Steffen blows it. Clase, we're getting calls for replacing him as the closer, and I assume everyone wants Steffen to be the guy that would replace him. He gives it up today, but how many times would you see a league leader in saves, people demanding he be taken out of the closer's role? It just adds to the unbelievable way that this has played out, that yes, it is, as someone said, Murphy's Law. Of course, it's Sean Murphy's Law. I believe that was Hammy Buck. Shout out to him. Shout out to John. Pyramid Song, who's streaming along. We'll get to some of their comments. And if you have comments, any live chats, drop them in there. We're going to talk about it. We're here hanging out with you between games. This is not a normal show that we're doing here. But isn't this just entirely predictable at this point? And if it is it even worth getting frustrated about it anymore? I don't know if it is. To me, I might be entering a new territory of frustration that I'll explain to you in a couple of minutes. But doesn't it just feel like I can predict, you can predict, the fans can predict exactly the way that this is going to play out?
Yes and no. First of all, feel how you want to feel. If you're frustrated, fine. If you're just reach a point of apathy, then that's your prerogative, and I'm not going to blame you. I think back to 2006, and there was that week where Fausto Carmona was the closer, and he blew 4 saves in a row, and it was, yes, that was predictable. But the difference here is that it's someone different every night, and they play so many close games that every single mistake you make is crippling. If it's a defensive mistake that leads to a run, if it's just someone in the bullpen falling behind to one batter, it's like they're paying for every mistake. It's not a single here and a walk here. It's the relievers are giving up home runs, and when you're giving up home runs and you're only ever entering the game when your team is up 1 or tied, because that's every game with this team, it's going to be just absolutely critical, and it's gonna cost you. So I think they've played 45 games and 21 have been decided by 1 run. That's an unsustainable pace. Even if you're playing well in 1-run games, which they're not, it's not a healthy way to live. And again, like, they have not won a game by more than 3 runs since their first win of the year on March 31st.
It's unbelievable.
The price of gas was only $2.55 at that time. The number one movie in theaters was something I've never seen. And I mean, the loaf of bread was like, it's the way that they've played this season is just not, you can't thrive with this style. And they just have, we can rank all the things wrong with them. You can nitpick and talk about Ahmed Rosario's defense or Terry Francona's decision to go to this reliever, not move up this guy in the lineup, or not play Tyler Friedman enough, or this or that. We can talk about Will Brennan and right field and that being like, whatever problem you want to be mad about at a certain minute, the fact that they can't consistently score a few runs a game is what is going to derail the entire season, because it just puts so much pressure on everybody to be perfect. And we've seen how that goes.